Hi, it's Mayor John Mitchell again with another weekly update from the Mayor's office. We've got a few interesting things to talk about this week. The first has to do with products that are generally referred to as synthetic marijuana. Now, these are things, these are substances, sometimes they look like tobacco, sometimes they have a different look, that are sold in convenience stores. And here in New Bedford and in places around the country, kids have been buying up this stuff and smoking it or ingesting it in some other way, and it's been causing all kinds of serious health effects, including hallucinations. We've talked to folks in the emergency room over at St. Luke's, and the police and EMS, and they have recognized that synthetic marijuana has been a big problem in the city, so we're moving to do something about it. We are moving to put into place new restrictions that will make it harder to sell it here, that will penalize businesses that wish to sell it, and so that we can't, so that we'll have a situation in which it won't be readily available to kids in particular in our community, because no good will come of it. I want to thank a number of folks for making it happen. Our public health director, Brenda Weiss, who worked very hard to help write the regulations. She's studied this issue from a number of different perspectives, but particularly a public health perspective, and I think we're going to have a set of regulations that will work well and close the loopholes that other communities have experienced when they've tried to regulate synthetic marijuana. I want to thank the City Council for their support. We've had a number of councilors who have been out in front on this issue, which is a really good thing, and we've worked very closely together. And I also want to thank the various store owners who have voluntarily said that they're not going to sell this stuff anymore. In fact, we've reached a point now where only a handful of convenience stores will wish to continue to sell it, and I think once these regulations are put in place, then we probably won't see it anymore in our city, at least not on store shelves. So great work all around to deal with an important health problem. It's an example of how government and the private sector work together toward an important public end that good things can happen. The other thing I wanted to talk about, actually the second of three things that I wanted to talk about today, was our first-time homebuyer program. We held a lottery earlier this week to select a first-time homebuyer of a home on Gira Street in the North End. This was a house that was falling apart, needed tons of work, and like a lot of other homes in the city and others that are falling apart, they tend to have an effect on neighborhoods, and not a good one. Everybody wants their neighbors to keep up the pace, right? If you live in a neighborhood, at some level you want your neighbors to do the same level of work on their houses that you do on yours, because we're all in it together. And so houses that fall apart obviously have an effect when it comes to a feeling of orderliness, of safety, and when one house goes, it has an effect on property values and encourages bad things to happen in neighborhoods. So we're doing something about it by encouraging first home buyer ownership. We can get new home buyers in a home, stabilize the neighborhood, and improve the overall feeling in the neighborhood. And what's true about bad houses, the opposite is true of with good houses. When houses are fixed up, it encourages other people to fix up their houses. It tends to raise values. Their work tends to raise values in the neighborhood. So we want to encourage that kind of behavior, especially as the market for housing in our city firms up. The more that we can get good houses back on the market looking good, neighborhoods will look more good, more people will put money into their homes. The last thing I want to talk about was an event that didn't get a lot of attention in the city. It got some attention in the city. Of course, with the feast is the event of the year in the city, as it should be. But at the same time, last weekend was a really interesting event down at Fort Rodman, and that was the Buzzards Bay 420 Championship. 420 is a type of sailboat, small sailboat raced by two people, and we had. This weekend, we had what we understand to be the third largest race of its kind ever. There were 200 boats that were out on the water with 400 racers. Lots of people came to the city. If you were down there, you saw the hive of activity, all the sails out in the harbor racing around. When we took a run at the Olympic sailing event a few years ago, we knew that even if that didn't happen, we would encourage this kind of racing to take place. That event holders, knowing that New Bedford was open to sailing events, and knowing the great conditions on the harbor, and knowing the great viewing opportunities at the fort, many people would come here, and this is the start of something I think very interesting for the city. There's a whole sailing world out there that wants to come to our city and stay in our hotels and go to our restaurants and create an interesting spectacle out on the water. So that was pretty cool. And we have a great organization called the Community Boating Center in the South End, headed up by Andy Herlihy, that organized all of this, and they did a fabulous job making it happen, and we're going to work with them to build on that. So if you had an opportunity to see it this year, I'm sure you were just as impressed as I was, and if not, there's next year, and what we hope to do is go from the third biggest to the biggest, just like that, and we think that this is something that the city can really capitalize on, so we're going to work on that. Otherwise, that's it for this week, and we'll see you next week.